I was tagged by Freya ASMR and Eve Bethany ASMR, I believe. I have a feeling there was someone else that tagged me. I'm really sorry if I've forgotten anyone. I love you, okay? You know, it was so long ago. Yeah, so this has been a long awaited video. This is the ASMR book tag. My frog just, was doing its thing. So this is the ASMR book tag video created by ASMR Fleur. We love her. We read any book she recommends, and I just love her. I just think she's just an incredible, incredible human being, and just so comforting, and yeah, I love her. So yeah, there are 25 questions. I've got them on my laptop over here. Again, as I always say, I apologise for my frog. As soon as I start whispering like the frog, there's like a, I don't know. It's just a throat thing. So anyway, let's actually get onto the video. So question 1 is, when did you start reading and what's your relationship to reading? So I started reading when I was 3. I was a very, very early reader. I could read before I started school. I think it's important to mention I have autism, so I think that is partially a reason why I picked up on reading so quickly. I was very late to talk, but very early to read. And I've always read, not always as consistently as I do now, but I have always been interested in reading. It's always been like a constant hobby. I dug out one of my original childhood books. It's called Before I Go to Sleep, and it's just a really cute little book with loads of really cute, really short stories, like Pretty Bother Boots. Sarah Jane's Busy Day. And yeah, I've had this book since I can remember. I don't even know where my mum got it from, but I've always loved it, and I've read every story multiple times. I don't remember whether I had a favourite. I was gonna show my original baby board books for this video, but I have already gifted them to my sister because, as I've mentioned before, she's literally about to have a baby, so I passed them down to her to give to her baby. But I've kept this one, and it's kind of beat up, but considering I'm nearly 27 and I've had this book since I was I think my mum got it when I was a baby. It's in very good condition, I think. So yeah, it's always been an escape for me reading. I had a difficult childhood, teenage experience, experienced a lot of trauma, and so reading for me was an escape. I'm just realising there's imprints on the book where I've drawn on it. So yeah, that's just, it's like a coping mechanism, I would say, is my relationship to reading. Question number 2 is, do you have a reading goal this year? What is it, and do you think you'll reach it? So obviously it's the beginning of 2024, and my goal for this year is 150 books. Now, I have achieved this before. 2022, I read 152, something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna try my best. Do I think I'll reach it? I hope so. But I'm not gonna be really upset if I don't. Last year I managed to read 132, I believe. So I was just shy of 150, so we're I'd say my top favourite genres are thrillers and horror, but I also love romance. I love historical fiction. Basically, if the book sounds interesting to me, and I think I'll enjoy it, I will read it. Despite, even if it has really low, bad reviews, I try not to listen to the reviews and just make my own opinion, kind of thing. So really, I enjoy reading all genres. What's your favourite book of all time and why? So, for a very, very long time, my favourite book of all time was The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. This is such a stunning cover. I love it so much. I loved this book for so long. I just loved the way it was written, and it's just so atmospheric, and yeah. This is about a man who basically goes to this isolated, dilapidated mansion that's basically cut off from the rest of it's off the coast of Wales, I believe, and he goes to sort out this woman's will, and basically opens a can of worms and starts seeing this woman in black around, and it's just kind of he's just trying to work out what is going on there, and it is just fascinating. I love it, and it's not for everybody. It's very it's more subtle horror. It's not outright, I don't know how to explain it, but I would say this is more like a Victorian horror, but it was that for a long time. And then I think you all know, people who have been following my channel for a bit will know what's coming, because I crack this book out at any opportunity. Salem's Lot by Stephen King. This book, I adore it. I adore this book. My cat is called Salem after this book. People are always like, oh, is she called Salem after Sabrina the Teenage Witch? And I'm like, I've never even watched that, sorry. This is a book about this town, and people are going missing. It starts with children going missing, and just weird stuff starts happening. And yeah, I'm not gonna say anymore. It's just Stephen King. I hate the way he writes about women, I really do. But in terms of his writing about writing atmosphere and building up dread, that sense of everything, he's everything he's writing about is normal. These people in this town, what they're up to, what they're doing. But there's something something's not right here. Something's gonna happen. Do you know what I mean? And I love that. And this has some of the creepiest scenes I've ever read. If you've ever read this book, the school bus scene gets me every time. I'm so scared. I don't like it. This edition has pictures in it. So, and I mean, look how floppy that is. I mean, that is a reason alone for it to be a favourite book, right? Yeah. Salem's Lot is my current favourite book of all time. I love it. I want to reread it and annotate it soon. I'm going to be slowly working my way through Stephen King's entire backlist in chronological order, because I want to experience the multiverse. If you're a Stephen King fan, you'll know what I'm talking about, but his books just have an insane amount of connections between them, and I want to just see if I can find them all, It seems like a fun way to pass the time. Number 5, what's the worst book you've ever read? Well, I actually read it this year, funnily enough. book, I can't even tell you how freaking damaging this book is. How, okay, so it's badly written to start with. I really don't like critiquing authors' writing, but I'm sorry if it's badly written, it's badly written. Like, this was worse than Wattpad. This was like reading a book, like, when I was a kid, I'd like start writing these chapter books that were just absolute nonsense and just absolute rubbish, let's be honest, and it kind of read like that, not gonna lie. But there is a subplot of, let me tell you what the book's about. So it's literally just about this girl who's in high school. She's really interested in fashion design, and she like basically falls in love with this guy who's just moved to the school, and he's like, he does theatre, and like, I don't know, like it's just their romance and her kind of like pursuing her dreams, blah 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 blah. Anyway, she's like got this friend. There is a subplot with the friend of essay. The way it was handled is absolutely disgusting. Like it was literally used to create drama and for an excuse for the friends to have tension. Essay of a 17-year-old girl was used as like a reason for the main character to get mad at her friend because her friend was sad about it. And then at the end, like, I'm sorry, if you want to read this book, just don't frickin' listen to the next pub. I really wouldn't recommend it. Do not give this author your money. She decides that the best way to, you know, deal with this essay, and this is like seen as like a happy ending, okay? So obviously there are books about this matter in which girls do not report, women don't report essay. I understand that, okay? I'm not victim blaming at all. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that these characters are like, oh, well, do you know what? Let's just brush it under the carpet and be friends again, you know? And like, it's all cool. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, the book almost encourages girls to brush it under the carpet, like actively encourages it. And I can't condone it. So, worst book I've ever read. Yeah, moving on. I'm not going to give that book any more of my breath. What is your favourite book-related trigger? Show us. Okay. I'm going to be a basic bitch. And, let me just get this random Goosebumps book. Just some good old, as you like. I love Ray ASMR. Ray ASMR, if you're watching, I love you. I love the way she taps on books like this. I just love it. I love it. I like nail tapping, but I really like just like fingertip tapping as well, if that makes sense. So I would say that is my favourite book-related trigger. I do like a bit of page flipping, but it has to be done in like a certain way. And I can do it with these because they're old, but like that. I don't know if you can hear it. Kind of. Like when the spine has a lot of good crunch. I do like that. Number 7. Who's your favourite author and what draws you to their writing? So, for this one, I've picked, because I just adore this woman, I love her, I will read everything she's written. Rachel Harrison. This is my favourite book by her so far, called Such Sharp Teeth. And I love this author. I love Rachel Harrison because, one, she's just so lovely. Like, every time I like have an interaction with her, she's just absolutely just amazing and just so lovely. But the way she writes about trauma is just so well done, and the metaphors she uses. Like, I would never have thought of like the werewolf metaphor, like how after you get assaulted, it changes you. And she kind of used this girl, you know, turning into a werewolf as like a metaphor for that, how like everything's different, your body feels different, your mind feels different. And I just thought that was so clever, and just the way she wrote the more distressing scenes just felt, I don't, this sounds wrong, okay, but like cathartic. They weren't like they weren't there like to be triggering and horrifying. They were there to be like, look, this is what happened. Here we go, let's move on. And this, then, do you know what I mean? And I can't like recommend her books enough. It's just the way she writes. I really want to reread this and annotate it, because I read it originally as an arc, and then I went and bought the physical copy because I wanted to annotate it. I'm trying to find like a part that could kind of convey what I'm trying to put across. I'm not very good at explaining how I feel about books, unfortunately. Here we go. Like this is kind of like I liked my therapist. Her name was Stella. She was soft-spoken and compassionate, and she wore wooden jewellery. Before I knew it, I was telling her about my past, about my mother, about how I had been raised. When I started saying these things out loud, that's when I realised how fucked up it all was. I related to that so much. Oh my god, it still gives me chills. She recommended books about being the child of immature parents, about healing from trauma. It gave me all this perspective I didn't know what to do with. And it hatched this anger. There was suddenly so much of it, too much. I didn't know how to experience it. I didn't know how to hold it, where to put it. When you're sad, you cry. When you're happy, you smile, you laugh. But what do you do when you're angry? Not just mad, but filled with this ugly, consuming rage. And the thing is, women aren't allowed to be angry. Nobody likes a mad woman. They're crazy, irrational, obnoxious, shrill. So, that's just like a tiny tidbit. I just love it. Let me read this bit on the back. This darkly comedic love story is a brilliantly layered portrait of trauma, rage, and vulnerability. Yes. Read it. Although trigger warnings, check trigger warnings, okay? Only read this if you are in the mental space to do so. I cannot say that enough. Like with any book, you should check trigger warnings. Let's have a look. What's the next one? What book has had the biggest impact on your life? Okay, so this is going to be like a little bit of a funny one actually, but it's the truth. There's my frog. So, I remember walking on when I was about, I must have been 5 or 6, walking on into the charity shop and seeing this book. And my mum, like, I don't know, like my mum wasn't one of those parents that was like, oh, is that going to be like too scary for you? Like, I don't know, she just trusted that I was going to be fine. I don't know. But she bought it for me, and I instantly, like, this was my gateway to horror. This book was my gateway, okay? I love the sound of these books. This is the first book I can ever remember reading and like being like, oh my god, I love reading. I know, like, most people for this answer have probably got like a really, like, you know, deep book, but like in a way this is because this allowed me to escape a lot of things, and I escaped into horror because at least my life wasn't this bad, you know, at least I didn't have like a living dummy in the attic, do you know what I mean? And I just was obsessed with Goosebumps. I used to have every single book. I'm collecting them again. You'll see them, a few that I've collected already in my secondhand book haul that I'm gonna be posting at some point. But this one is like my favourite Goosebumps book, and this is like just top tier for me. I reread it recently and annotated it, and you're probably laughing at me like, what the fuck is she doing annotating a fucking Goosebumps book? Like, it's not exactly a work of literature, but for me it was just such a cool experience reading this again. And I remembered like a lot of this is stuff I remembered from when I was a kid, and like just things that had been completely erased by my brain, but that still kind of surface now. So for example, there's like a bit here about like describing her needs, because this book is about them moving to a new house. There's a part where she describes her bedroom, and she described having a window seat. I'd never heard of a window seat before reading this, and ever, like, I don't know, I just forgot about it, but I've always just subconsciously really just wanted a window seat. And I realised when I was reading this, like, oh my god, it's because of this book. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So I'm going to continue tapping on this book while I answer the next question. Do you prefer reading physical books or ebooks? Now, it depends. I love a physical book, love owning my favourite books, annotating them. I don't know, there's just something about a physical book, you know. But ebooks are a lot easier for when I'm in pain, because I can't even hold up a book some days, which is again why I find it difficult to film consistently, because obviously for a book channel I need to be able to hold books. So ebooks make it a lot easier to read lying down, and yeah, it depends on the situation, I would say, but nothing beats a good paperback. And the next question, number 10. How do you choose which book to read next? Now guys, you're not huge, you just weren't expecting this, okay? You weren't expecting this. I mean, come on. I've put loads of effort into this, so like you can see these in the middle. I have little baggies of cards that I like place on there. I have my dice in this bag. So I've got like specific prompts, tropes, and then like specific prompts. So like that'll be things like very, very specific, like blind TBR card pick or whatever. I don't really have enough time to fully explain it, but yeah, this is my TBR game that I made. Very proud of it, I'm not gonna lie. If you want to know more about that, just let me know and I will explain it in more depth. But yeah, do you have any reading rituals or habits? I like to read at night. For some reason I find it very difficult to read during the day, and I think it's because I have ADHD and I get very distracted during the day, whereas at night everybody's asleep. I don't have anything to do, and yeah, a lot of the time I can't sleep as well. So generally, like, I'll just make sure I've got I've taken all my medication, got a drink on the side, and I will just sit and read, or lie and read. So yeah, I would say that's the only ritual or habit that I have. Do you annotate your books? If yes, what's your method? Well, I have brought Exhibit A to show you. It happened one summer. This is one of my favourite romance books do, but like it's not going to be like an impactful like historical saga. Do you know what I mean? So for this book, I did yellow for things that made me laugh. This is the Randy Lobster scene. Oh my god! I'm not even going to read it now because I will just start wheezing. I just can't. I will sometimes actually write in the book, which I know is sacrilege to some people. I used pink here for like stuff I loved. So this was like a description of the town that I loved. Then I used blue for things that made me sad. Or like that made me tear up. This book has like a subplot about a father who's passed away. That's not a spoiler. It's literally on the blurb. And yeah, there was some quotes that, you know. And then I used orange to like either like cringe or like just angry moments. And I'm not gonna show this because it's not appropriate for, you know, the YouTube. Especially like an under 18 video. It's dirty talk or description of a sex scene. And Tessa Bailey, I love her. I really do. I love her books. But some of her, well, the books that I've read of hers, the dirty talk and the actual description of body parts and stuff like that is extremely, extremely cringy and gross. In this book, Piper, her lady parts are described during sex as the split of her femininity. What the fuck? Do you know what I mean? I mean, that might be sexy to some of you. I'm not kink shaming. I'm not, you know, but to me that was just like, oh, okay, interesting. But if you didn't know, this book is about this rich girl called Piper who basically she's like a party girl, and she gets sent to this fishing town by her stepfather because she's taken things too far, and basically she's sent to just like renovate the bar that her father owned. And she meets Brendan, who is a fisherman, and he's like really grumpy, does not appreciate her presence in the town, so it's a grumpy sunshine, enemies to lovers romance. And yeah, it's just like opposites attract, grumpy sunshine, and the town is just like small town. I love a small town, love it. So yeah, the town in this is just so nice. And yeah, so that's my annotation method. Like just an example of what I do. Obviously it's different, like I want to highlight different things in different books, you know. What's a quote from a book you still think about often? Now, I'm really bad with like remembering quotes, but I just read, hang on, I read Better Hate Than Never by Chloe Lees. I think that's how you say her name. This is my Kindle Scribe. Ignore the stickers that have just fallen everywhere. And this is upside down. Is it? I always get the button wrong. I love how these covers sound, by the way. This parts they like. So like, for example, at school, I was told I didn't talk enough, but then when I would talk, I would talk too much. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. And I have like a really good sense of humour. I love joking around and making people laugh, but like if it's obviously that's just part of my personality, and with being autistic I find it very difficult to like turn parts of my personality off like that. And I used to get it a lot where people would just be like, oh, just like shut up, and it's like, but then like when they wanted to laugh they'd suddenly like wanted, do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but that quite really resonated with me, because I was like, that like explains exactly like how I feel in my life even now. Yeah. What was the next question? Sorry, I blanked then. What's the last book you read that you couldn't put down? I've got a picture of this one. Sorry. On my iPad, because I did this. Right, so this is a short story collection by a bunch of gothic horror writers, or just gothic writers. And it's put together by Bridget Collins, I believe, and she did another one a couple of years ago with similar authors. There's a couple of different ones in this one, and I hated it. It was so boring. I had to struggle through it. This one, oh my god, I loved all of it. It's called The Winter Spirits, Ghostly Tales of Frosty Nights. I loved it. I was just like, I was sad when it was over. Like, I just kept wanting to read more and more and more. I'd finish a story and then I'd be like, oh, do you know what, I'll just check this. I'll like just check this one out. And there were so many imaginative and really cool stories that I still think about, that I'm still thinking about. And yeah, I love books like that you just don't want to put down, and that you just like, you don't want it to end. And so I'm really hoping that they come out with another similar collection maybe in a couple of years. But it has so many of my favourite authors in here, like Laura Purcell, Catriona Ward, and then there's Bridget Collins, Kira Millward Hargrave, Laura Shepherd Robinson, Elizabeth McNeil, Susan Stokes Chapman, just a bunch of really renowned gothic writers in England anyway. So yeah, it was really good, really good. What is a book? This is another one. What's a book recently that has surprised you? I was expecting to like be interested in this book and enjoy it, but I did not expect to love it as much as I did. And that is Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. This is like a historical / literary fiction book about following this Italian-American family and this guy that basically marries into their family. I can never do this synopsis justice, but basically like his joining the family kind of tests their bond, and they just go through a lot as a family, and it's just an incredible book. I would suggest you look up the Goodreads synopsis, because I will not do it justice, gonna be honest. I just can't. Oh, okay. What's a book that disappointed you? What was it that I chose for this? Oh yeah, The Unmaking of June Farrow. Now I thought I was going to absolutely adore this. Historical, magical realism, time travelling, alternate timelines, blah blah blah, buzzwords. This was so boring. I struggled to get through it. I was so bored. Like, through most of the book, our character knew nothing and was trying to find stuff out, so therefore we knew nothing, and I was just like, right, can we just get to it, please? So yeah, this is like a historical magical realism about this family that can like slip through time, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. I think I've kind of just, it was just so disappointing that I just try not to think about it really, so. And then this is like the type of cover I love, like nature, bright colours, just a bit textured lettering, you know. I just think it's stunning. This is quite a beat up copy, but it was literally 50p, so I can't sniff at it. So I'm excited to read this. It's kind of like a modern classic, I think. So, yeah. Stay tuned for my second-hand book haul, which will probably come up like the week after this one. And then we have which book has the tinkliest cover, and I'm gonna choose for this one. Where have I put it? I just think these Goosebumps covers have just such, like, you can do all the triggers, you know, you can do sticky fingers. You can do nail tapping, finger tapping, textured letters, and then we also have page flipping. You know, it's just, we've got it all, and then love it. So yeah, I would say the Goosebumps covers are pretty solid. What book do you think has the ugliest cover? Now this is just an example. I have Stephen King carry here. I freaking hate movie adaptation covers. I hate them. I think they are so ugly. I would say this is probably like one of the better ones. It would be better if this freaking red thing wasn't over the top. But yeah. I do not like this cover, and if I find a nicer one in like a second-hand shop, I'll probably buy it and get rid of this one, but yeah. I want to reread this one soon and annotate it, so I mean, if I end up annotating it, I'll probably just have to annotate this copy and just deal with it, but you know, we'll see. But yeah, I do not like movie adaptation covers. Hate them. What is your favourite trope? Haunted house. Love it. Can't be a haunted house. I love it. Haunted house or horror books. That's my favourite. Or like possession. And I love books about, I'm not even going to say the full thing because like it's after dark and I have real superstitions about it all, but the skin thingies, you know, the Native American legends, you know what I'm talking about, like Stolen Tongues, Felix Blackwell, look that up, it's that type of thing, you know, they freaking terrify me. So I love that sort of thing. Thrillers, I love like an isolated setting, like unreliable narrator, and like multiple perspectives. I know a lot of people don't like that, but like The Guest List by Lucy Foley, love it. I love it. Isolated setting, whodunit, perfect. Romance, I love an enemies to lovers. I like fake dating when it's done right and it's not just put in there to appeal to the masses. I really enjoyed The Spanish Love Deception. I loved that. And I really like enemies to lovers in like romantasy. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of like a selection of the tropes that I enjoy. I enjoy books about like motherhood and stuff like that as well, because it's just something I'm interested in. Like I really wanted to be a midwife, but wasn't meant to be, so I'm still interested in that, you know. So I love The Bush by Ashley Audrain, that sort of thing, you know, the commentary on motherhood and, you know. Question 21, what's a book you've read that you would recommend to everyone? I think everyone on their pet lizard has read this, but The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Now this is one TikTok book, or BookTok book, that I think genuinely deserves the hype, because I would recommend this to anybody, even if you don't like historical fiction. I just think this is a book for everybody. I has a bit of everything. It has romance, it's sapphic, it has the historical elements, it has the mystery elements, it has just, it's like, it just keeps you guessing, like, it's just so compulsively readable, and I would recommend it to everybody, you know. It's floppy, this copy as well. But yeah, I just recommend this to everybody. Like, if you want to get back into reading, read this. It's guaranteed to get you out of a slump, I believe. Obviously, it's not for everybody. Like, you're not going to find a book that everybody loves, but I just generally would recommend this one. I just love David Dickens' read. I'm really excited to see what she comes out with next. 22. Do you prefer standalone books or series, and why? Now, it depends. I love. Why did I sound American then? I love I love standalone romance, right? But I'm also a sucker for like a interconnected standalone romance series, like Chestnut Springs, that type of thing, or like books that follow siblings, and you get like a book for each sibling and follows their romances. I love that. And fantasy, I 100% prefer series because I want to be in that world and following those characters, and I just feel like with fantasy you can't do much world building in one book unless it's freaking huge, and even then, like, I don't know, I just like to, you know, really immerse myself, you know, so I'd probably say series, to be honest. And yeah. Do you have a favourite book to movie adaptation? 100%, right? This is one of the only books that I will tell people, like, the movie is not like equally as good, but it takes the book and makes it just so much more like a bit of a film, if you know what I mean. Like, the film terrifies me. It's actually like terrifying, whereas if you were to put the film in the book, I think it would read really corny. I don't know how to put it, but I can watch that film over and over again, The Woman in Black. I love it. It's absolutely terrifying. And so I will always pick this as my favourite book to movie adaptation. I love the book for its reasons and the movie for its reasons, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't really compare the two, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Question number 24. What's a book that you've been meaning to read for a long time but haven't gotten around to yet? Right, guys, like, I'm about to bare my soul to you, so, like, please be gentle, alright? You know, I'm really trusting you here. And this is a bit of an embarrassment of mine, a bit of a skeleton in the closet, if you know what I mean. This has been on my TBR since 2016. When it came out, I believe it came out in 2016. I'm just gonna have a little peek. Yeah, 2016. Okay, I've done it. Okay, I've ripped the band-aid off. I appreciate if you want to unsubscribe now. This book, there is absolutely no reason that I can remember why I didn't continue the series. I think it's because I was reading the series from the library. And I just couldn't be asked to wait for the next book, or I didn't finish it, or whatever. I've reread Akatar since, and I just didn't read this next. So my plan is this year I want to start reading the entire Sarah J. Maas series, and I'm gonna reread Akatar yet again, but immediately follow up with this book, and then the others, you know, just read them one after the other, just, you know, loving life. Because I love the first book. A lot of people say, oh, you have to get past the first book because it's really boring, but I love it. So if this book is better, like, sign me fuck up, do you know what I mean? Sorry if you can hear my stomach rumbling, don't know why it's doing that, because I've eaten way too much today, so don't know why it's asking for more. But yeah, it's an embarrassment of mine. Yeah, literally since 2016. It's 8 years. appreciate that I've been vulnerable there, and yeah. And then the last question is, do you have a particular book that you like to revisit or reread every few years? And we're going to come back with Taylor Jenkins Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm obsessed with this book. I am a massive Fleetwood Mac fan. I went to see them in 2015 and I'm so glad I did, because it was right before they kicked Lindsay Buckingham out of the group. And so it was like the not original lineup, but you know, the Buckingham Nicks lineup, and I'm so glad I did. It was magical, it was stunning, it was, you know, and this book is like based on Fleetwood Mac, and it's just so cool, because like I'm like, oh, that character's Mick Fleetwood and that character's Christine McVie and that character's Stevie, do you know what I mean? And I adore it. I know the format isn't for everybody, a lot of people prefer the audiobook, but I just love it. I love it so much, and I want to annotate it, because I really do want to annotate all my favourite books, so that I can just look at them and see, like, be able to just flip to bits that I enjoyed, if that makes sense. So, there is also a this or that quick fire round, so I will just go through these very quickly. So the first one is fiction or non-fiction. Fiction. Hardcover or paperback? Paperback all the way. Hardcover looks pretty on the shelves, but paperback is just so much nicer and easier to read. Romance or thrillers? Thrillers. Comedy or tragedy? I'm all for a tragedy. Like, I'm sorry, I love to cry in books. I will actively seek out books that will make me cry. Classics or contemporary? Contemporary. Library or bookstore? I'm sorry, I work at a library, but I prefer the bookstore, because I like to own the books and be able to just do what I want with them with the library, even though I work there, and I'm there like every week, obviously working. I'm terrified that I'm not going to return the book. It's just an anxiety of mine, and then I get anxious reading it, and it just doesn't make for a good reading experience. So yeah, indoors or outdoors? Indoors. Outdoors is just too unreliable in the UK. Sofa or bed? Bed. In silence or with music or sounds? In silence, generally. Sometimes I'll put some like rain sounds on, but generally in silence. BookTok or BookTube? I have been an OG BookTube fan since 2015, so I will always stand with BookTube, okay? BookTok has its merits, okay? I'll appreciate it. BookTube is where it's at, I'm sorry. BookTube's where it's at. Anyway, I think pretty much everyone's done this tag by now. If you haven't done it and you're watching and you want to do this, please do it. I love watching these videos. And go check out ASMR Fleur's channel, because she actually has all of the videos in a playlist and you can like see everybody's, and I just love hearing everybody's answers to the questions. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Bit of a longer one today, just as usual, take care of yourselves, okay? And I wish only happiness, joy, and growth for you, okay? You deserve it, alright? Thank you so much for being here. I love you, each and every one of you, and appreciate you so much. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for sticking till the end of the video and putting up with me talking shit. So yeah, as per usual, I don't know how to end these videos, so I'm just going to say bye now, okay? I'll see you soon.